Howdy, folks, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. Tonight, we got a great show for you. Thank you for joining me tonight, and I hope you stay tuned for the whole thing. This is going to be a two-parter. It was recorded the other day, and I have a great guest on for you. As we all know, our Wayne Steiger, Nina the Mystic, and Musgrave Griffin. And later on, we'll have Dalibor Suchy joining us too. So stick around for the whole show because it's mind-filling information. It gets a little bit crazy here and there, but I'm sure that you will enjoy the whole thing. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. It's going to be a great night. Please stand by for the show. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another day in the Milky Way. And tonight we got a great show for you. And so far we got our Wayne Steiger, who we all love, and thank you for coming. And we got Nina the Mystic and Musgrave Griffin with us so far. And we may have more joining us as we go. Tonight we're going to be talking about religion. And religion is a cult or a society or something. But the first question I had for us to talk about tonight is, if you're not in a religion, does that make you non-spiritual? Can you be spiritual without having a religion?
Absolutely.
And where I live, they would say no. It's either Christianity or nothing. Mm-hmm. And listen, I used to believe that. In fact, there was a time. Yeah, there was a time when I would see that if you weren't Christian and you were claiming to be spiritual, then you were usually doing something with Satan, something with witchcraft.
Mm-hmm. Now, I believe it or not,
just plain cuckoo.
Yeah, I lived in that area down there for just a little while. I had some friends down there in Missouri, right over there where the Little House on the Prairie gal lived. I can't think of the name of the
town.
No, the gal who wrote the books.
Oh yeah, okay.
They got a little town over there in her library or house or whatever it is. But anyway, needless to say, when I lived down there, the biggest thing was getting a job. First thing they said is, "What church do you go to? You didn't belong to the right church. You don't get the job. Sorry." And I just couldn't figure that. I was like, whoa.
Europe's even worse. Yeah, Europe's even worse for that. Like, you can't get married if you're not already baptized, and already belong to a church. You can't get married even. Mm-hmm. So everybody says they are
That's the Catholic
Christian,
Church, even in America. That's the Catholic Church in America.
Yeah, well, there you go.
A lot of contracts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
a lot of contracts.
When I got married, I refused to get married in the church. My mother was disgusted, and she was terrible about it. But I just refused to get married in a church. So I got married on a golf course, right on the golf course.
That's not bad.
We got married on a beach. Lynn and I did. In Hawaii.
You were telling us about that.
Private
Hawaii,
beach.
Right?
Yeah. It was under the big
Hawaii.
W.
Okay. Just like in Mad.
Exactly. All right. You get the prize. You get the gold star because that's exactly what it is. The treasure was under the big W.
Mm-hmm.
It surely was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I remember the movie well. Got in a drive-in. But back to the question, right?
Yes. So does it make you non-spiritual if you're not part of a religion?
Absolutely not.
I think you tend to be in a position to be in a higher mantique level of spirituality. In my eyes, I rarely even use the term spiritual anymore because it's so passe that that mantique is more of a term that gets right down into that divination dimension where you can speak speak directly or have direct contact. See, me, I'm more in contact with the Mother Earth. So I have direct contact with her through nature, and which is way superior to sitting in a bench in a church sitting next to people that are all sweaty, and I don't know.
Well,
I just tend to.
You're one on one. You're going direct.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, going direct.
Absolutely, yes.
I have a buddy who always, and Wayne, you probably have kind of talked about this a lot, and it kind of throws the Jesus thing out. My buddy always tells me, he says, the first time I realized that religion was corrupt is when they got us praying to Jesus to deliver our message to God. Why do they need a third party? What happens when you got a third party? That third party always takes a cut.
And there's something always lost in translation.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
No, we didn't say up yours. We meant yours. You know? You know? And the next thing you know, this God's pissed off at us. And, but I think it explains a lot. I think that one has to define what is spirituality. Because it's an ambiguous word, that it's a coverall for meaning all things that are not of the flesh. I mean, in essence, that's how we interpret and define that word. I mean, spirituality can be now today is probably more associated with the metaphysical world than it is associated with the religious world.
Yes.
Yeah, the problem I have with religion is it's organized religion. That right there just kind of corrupts it all. And that's the thing. You get all the greed and corruption and all the power struggles and all that BS in there. And that's what kind of ruins it,
on and on and on.
Yeah, and in my research, you got Paul, who established most of the churches, did he not? Am I wrong on that? He kind of started that out, and then according to what they say, anyway, and he took the people, the Jews, and he used their belief. I wrote it all down so I don't mess up. But
Jesus was a Jew. Jesus was Jewish.
And he used that. He
was a rabbi and a teacher. Yeah.
He used that to start the religion. First, you need to start a religion. You need, which he started Christianity, because yes, Jesus was a Jew, and all the Jews didn't even believe Jesus was this Messiah either, according to the Bible, because that's the only reference we really got for that. You need believers with faith. You need people who need help, and you need them to fear something. And then you need a storyline of good and bad to make it all work. And I might be missing a few things, but those are kind of the basics, foundation of a religion. Do you agree on that?
Yes, and Christianity, Robert, is on the pretext of the Old Testament and the Torah.
Yeah, because it has to be based on a story of somewhere, and then you can add lib to it.
Yeah. Whether it's a true story,
the Council on Nicaea,
because they try to make it like it's a historical event, and it's really all just fabricated. It's not historical.
See, I contend there never was a Jesus. It's impossible for there to be of a Jesus, but you can see how the God spell that I call it, it's interwoven into our vernacular. We say it with sometimes not even thinking about it. And that's the struggle that I constantly have to deal with, because everything is extended from that. Well, are you saying then, Wayne, are you against love? Well, no, you've assigned love to something that is supposed to represent love. And again, there's no witness to ever validate that these times, that these people, that these events took place. I mean, it's a masterfully written play.
Consider it was written 300 years after the fact, so that everybody that was there at the time were
Well,
gone.
sure, and everyone can remember everything verbatim what was said in the conversation while the pipe was passed around. I mean, yeah, it's like sure.
And hence I said a storyline. I didn't say the true facts. I said
storyline.
It's a story. You
Yes,
could take
you did, Robert.
you could take this as a like think about it. Hundreds of years from now, if all the Bibles are destroyed in some kind of wacko cult weirdo thing, and the only thing left is Lord of the Rings, the 3 books, and they combine the 3 books together, they will be studying that as the Bible, because that's the only story. You know what I mean?
But here's what gets me. The Bible in itself is a myth. I mean, we don't talk about what the real Bible is. If you want to say it, it's the Latin Vulgate. But no one mentions anything about the Latin Vulgate, what books were in the Latin Vulgate. That book was nearly over 1,000 years old. Then we get an updated copy, in 1615, where Jesus comes about.
But the thing was, too, is in Alexandria, let's say, for an example, they burned down the libraries there, and they burned all of the Teleste's workings, and the Druids had been around for 40,000 years already, and it wasn't the Christians that were in the lion's cages or whatever that was, the Colosseum. It was the pagans that were murdered and killed and hung and thrown and this and that. It wasn't the Christians, like they say.
It's very odd because you make the reference of 40,000 years. If you take the Bible, we can't be any older than nearing 6,000 years old. I mean, that's just, you're going, so how do I squeeze all this, the geology of the geology for sure, the genealogy of coming in. It's nuts. But today, religion, I was so involved with it when I developed the first mobile giving app. It was for churches, and I met all the national televangelists, Joel Osteen, all of them. You know what I walked away with that experience? There is no God. This God that people get down on their hands and knees and make worship to, and etc. The spirit that I met at the top. It's a spirit of monetary gain. That's all it is.
It's always the people at the very top who just know the truth, and they hold that close to them, because if the masses find out, the gig is up.
One of the world's leading renowned Southern Baptist preachers met with him behind closed doors, and he had a Bible on his desk, and he went over there, picked the damn thing up, ripped the pages out of it, and threw it behind him. And he says, "This goddamn thing doesn't mean anything, but we need the money."
I bet you they were loving you when you said, "I know how to get you more money."
Actually, they feared it. They feared it. I was the very first one. You have to understand, this was back in 2009. Mobile payment wasn't around then. We had just sold our company for pay at the table, and I was looking at an untapped market. Well, religion is very profitable, very profitable. Anyway.
Yeah, everybody's always wanting to give. And then you feel bad. They make you feel bad if you don't give, like, we're good and you got to give. And, and then you think about it and you think, well, it is for a church and they are good. But haven't they led us astray in the fact that, we're doing good, but really you're just promoting, by giving to them, you're promoting them to get more money. Here, we're going to build a church. And I heard somebody say, well, they raised money here for such and such to build a church in Alaska for those poor Eskimos, And I'm like, yeah. So
they don't want it. They don't want that.
Yeah, but they raised the money. They built the church. And yeah, they're going to do a little bit of good up there. But then guess what? They got a whole new a bunch of payers to go to that church. Oh, let's go to that church because it's big and beautiful. And we can all give to that church now. You just created a whole new store for them to dish out their money to.
But you look at the conditioning in this country, in our taxes, what you give to charity. Now, it's not a church, but it's defined under charity. It's tax deductible. So it's like, oh, all right, so where's the holiness in this? And it was Paul, by the way, who wrote that, you know, a laborer was worthy of his hire. He was the whole making his argument why you should give to him. But Paul, if he did exist, which we know that there's evidence that he did, or his family did at least, they were very, very wealthy. I mean, really wealthy.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm sorry with the, I don't know, it's just maybe it's the St. Dave's Patty Parade out there.
Oh.
The guys are drunk on the fire engine, man.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we were talking about that the other day, like Jesus, if he is real and whatever, you know, let's just go with that story, would have had to be a very wealthy family in order to send him off to go and study in the East for all those years. Only rich people could afford that.
Kenneth Hagin taught us in
everybody else was, yeah.
When I was at Bible school at Rhema, we talked about the ointment that Martha put on Jesus's feet and how Mary was all about it. Well, what people don't realize, that lard that they used today would have the market value of about $50,000.
Again, where did they get? How could they?
Yeah, how does a peasant get? You know, why would you have it in your house to begin with? Well, because people stank back then. You know,
and that's how they showered. That's how they cleaned themselves with oil.
So $50,000.
Yeah.
Dunk in the coal in the hot water pools. They'd come out. They'd get scraped again, and then the oil goes back on, fresh oil. And that's how they clean themselves in the Levant, in the Mediterranean, and Italy, and all those areas.
So we really have ventured off from the question of spirituality and religion, but it shows you how, you know, serendipitous the journey is. I mean, what is spirituality? And it's defined, for me, it was defined by what my teachers were telling me.
Yes.
You know, and further, when I look.
What is it now, though? What is it now?
For what? For myself?
What is it now? What is it?
Well, the thing is, I have a channel that at least that's all documented. At this point in my journey, I'm realizing that if this so-called matrix exists, where there's good and supposed evil, then we've only heard one side of the story. And it's very difficult to determine if that's good. How do I know? What standard are we using to say that that's good? So there's
a lot to say about the matrix. I mean, that's a whole different ball of wax.
That could be a whole other show.
My eyes hurt.
Yes. Nina, now you have renounced your religion. You tore up your Bible or burnt it or something and signed a paper and said you're unbaptized and all of that. That I know. And has that affected your spirituality? Are you any less spiritual now than you were then?
No, it's kind of like why you got baptized in the first place. It's kind of like an official declaration, you know, for yourself, but also to the spirits, you know, that you were announced. That I actually got baptized 3 times.
Oh, gee. Really
and confirmated. So I got baptized as an infant. Then I got confirmated at 14. You have to confirm that you were baptized, that you believed in it, because the first time around it was done to you. So at 14, you got and if you don't do those 2 things, you cannot come back and get married in that church. So you kind of got forced to do it. And my grandparents.
Is that Catholic?
Yeah. No, that's just a Protestant in Europe. You know, they're very close. The Lutheran, you know, it's kind of very close to the.
Oh, the Lutheran. Okay.
Lutheran, yeah. Yeah. And then, of course, I was born again in the Baptist church as an adult. So I got baptized again. And
Hallelujah,
It's
sister.
ridiculous, and it's all about numbers, Nina. It's all about
Yes.
numbers, and Wayne can vouch for that.
And boy, it's funny because I went back to church for a little bit and I realized, oh my God, I don't belong here. But anyways, I started going there, started tithing. And then once you leave, oh boy, the letters that you get in the mail. Oh, wow. A whole 2-pager about, why you should continue tithing and all this. And oh, wow. Talk about like guilt trip, for.
Yeah. Nina, were you baptized in the Holy Spirit? I mean, with the infilling of the Holy Spirit?
I didn't feel anything when I came out of the water. I don't know.
No, I mean, but in the belief that I came out, you have to physically ask the Holy Spirit to come in.
Oh, I see.
It's the baptism of the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. So that's the I guess the minister was or whatever you call him, was the facilitator, and they ask and you say yes, and then yeah. It's actually, that was something I thought about earlier today, because we were talking on your show there about how the Baptists, they don't want to talk about the whole talking in tongues. And my uncle, who died as a Christian, very devoted kind of Christian, when he got up from the water, when they pulled him up from the water, all of it, he was all he could do to contain himself, but not spewing out the talking in tongues.
It's the exact same thing happened to me. I came up.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was afraid to do it, but he knew how to do that after the baptism. So something happened to him during that baptism where all of a sudden, and it was in the Baptist church, so you could not say anything. Right? You couldn't. They would think it was the devil that came out of that water.
Give him the left foot of fellowship right out the door.
Yeah.
I was in the Baptist church for a while too. Yeah.
See, it's all about
went from Catholic to Baptist.
Yeah. It is. It's all about the conforming to their rules and regulations. And if you don't, out the door you go. And, and that's that's the worst part about it. I mean, comply. When you're just spiritual, you comply to your own rules and regulations, I guess. And that's not acceptable to a religion. I remember doing, I do that Native American Myths and Legends show, and in there I read all these old history books, and these guys going in, especially in the 1840s, writing about this stuff, saying, these people can't be spiritual, they don't have a church. And then when they take me to their, some tent with some bones and some, little trinkets here and there, that's not a church. They can't point to their God. They don't even fear their God. So it must not be a God because they don't fear him, and it's everywhere. It's in the plants and the animals, and it's in the sky, and it's everywhere. And he says that can't be. We can't have that. And we, so they need to change that.
Wow.
Yeah, I think worship in their terms is just all about putting everybody in a trance, and that's part and parcel to the. So I'm just going to say it. Can I say it on
Go ahead.
YouTube? MK Ultra. It's part of them controlling your thoughts and then your actions, but then where's your ethics? Where does your own heart go? Where is it in connection to your brain and your gut, your solar plexus? It like disappears, it dissipates. And that's what they want. They do not want you to understand that you yourself, without this outer world Father God, that you can actually have a relationship to the nature, to Mother Earth. That's where the true spirit starts, with the spirit in the animals, the spirit in the trees, spirit on the ground. It comes right out of the ground, right out. I've seen it.
See, in today's modern church, you would be considered a pagan for that.
Well, I'm a heretic because I choose.
See, it's interesting because in my experience, I mean, I was closely tied to people like Kenneth Copeland, Kenneth Hagin. Kenneth Hagin was.
I've read his book. Yeah, I've read all.
He's got lots of books. I mean, the thing about it, that as I look back, it was the difference that I would say in this type of the cult of religion was that it was about faith and the building of your faith. Nothing, God could do nothing unless your faith was engaged. And then God could hook up to that faith and begin to manifest. And in this case, it was taught to us regularly that God wanted every one of us to be millionaires. And that was the doctrine.
Yeah, well.
I got a question for you, Wayne.
I don't know.
Okay.
That prosperity thing just never sat right with me. Just never did.
So Wayne, this is a question for you. You know, with your talk, we're talking all about this stuff, and she brought up a good thing. Okay, so believing in the earth and being close one-on-one with that, you're an individual, right? But if you join a religion, you're part of a collective. Just like when, a person joins the military, you get a mild-mannered man. He's very gentle and calm. You put him in the military, and he goes through boot camp. He goes through training. You're not one person anymore. You're a part of a collective. You're doing something for a greater good, the country you're serving. And all of a sudden you put a gun in that guy's hand, you send him out onto that field and you say, go, shoot and kill all those people out there. They're not like us. And that mild-mannered man goes out and shoots and kills, even though he knows killing is bad. He don't want to hurt anybody. He could be the nicest guy down the street that was always kind and gentle to everybody. But yet now he's indoctrinated and he'll go kill everybody. Is that not like the religions?
Exactly like the religion.
Well,
Onward Christian soldiers.
The Catholics and the Protestants, look at all the people, all the women and children they killed just for their money and their property. And so they confiscated that. And then they went into other countries, confiscated all of them. They killed all the pagans, all the heretics, the Druids, all the Telestai. What about Hypatia when she was ripped apart? Mm-hmm. And that's what started the Middle Ages.
Yes.
The Dark Ages, from that one sole act, and they were already living in Alexandria. They were already living in a place where it was illegal for them in other parts of the world to practice these heretic practices, planetary tantra, which is really just connecting with the earth. And these people that they murdered and killed and tore apart and threw in the ashes down in the dump, these were people that were highly trained. They were highly educated. They were intellectual shamans. They were mystics. They were people that connected to the sky and the planets, and they just had this. They knew. It's a Greek word, nous, N-O-U-S, and it means intellectual, divine intellect. And so they had this connection, and it was practiced for thousands of years before this happened. And Hypatia was killed. She was born actually in March, but she died. She was killed in 415, and that's when it just went. The fire of Christianity just took off, and just. And that is
right.
True history. That's true history.
You're right, but you're talking about all these people who were individuals because they believed one-on-one with, the sky and moon and, planet. They weren't a collective. Right. And that's what they want. They weren't a part of that big collective.
They were a collective in themselves. They were a collective. They had the individual relation, let's call it a relationship for the sake of not knowing what else to call it. They had that intuitive inner knowing, but then so did all of the other heretics had the same, and so they were a collective in that sense. They were.
Yeah, and, I'll answer your question, Robert.
Yeah. No, go ahead. Sorry. No, I get what you're saying, Griffin. You're right on with all that.
Good. Because it was a collective.
But Wayne, go ahead. Go ahead.
When you talk about how you can take an individual and then they go in, you have to understand there's some strong motivators there. Number one, it's the belief in God, because this is godly. This is our God ordained. If you're going to war and you're a Christian nation, then God is on your side. So you have God, you have righteousness. These are all great motivators of human character. And as you go forth, there is an exemption. Yes, the 10 Commandments says that thou shalt not kill, but then again, Paul says that, to serve the state is your first duty, because by serving the state, you're showing your service to God. And so when you look at this, when you ask, how can an individual be changed like that? And then I'll tell you what will happen. They will go back home and resort back to that life. However, as when we had JD and Nina on the other day, as I said, there's a price to be paid. It's required. And many veterans they won't talk about what they endured on the battlefield.
I was going to say there's a lot of suicides when they come back. Like every day, there's, I don't know how many, but there's a lot of them. They can't handle what they've done. Like it's horrible.
But in the church, we will honor those.
Yeah. My husband was in Wayne.
Well,
he was a little bit older than you. He was born in 46. And when he came back from Nam, he just went into paramilitary is all he did. And he had a rough go. He really had a rough go, because he was one of those Marines that went in. He went in by himself, and he was, what's that called? Oh, I'm sorry. I can't remember what it was that he's called.
So anyway, wrap it up, Robert. The point is that these are holy missions, and that even draws you closer to God, because you're much like Abraham and Isaac. Mm-hmm. You showed God, and you believed God.
So you're saying, Wayne, that our military is just like jihad in the Islamic.
I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying.
But in the bottom line, when you're talking about bottom line, that's exactly what you're saying. Intuitively, that's what I'm hearing.
Well, I thought this was a question about religion.
Because non-Israel is the same. When they have because they have their military, and they have the Mossad, and they have all that. Well, all these three religions are connected through the Abrahamic bloodline. And so it's the same. And if they call that, if you call that like a God, a calling from God, then that's the same as calling it jihad.
I think I didn't say calling. What I'm saying is that service, in the sense in the United States,
is the same thing as calling. Okay. It's the same thing. Service is being a servant.
Yes.
Serving is being a servant. It's a I think it's a Greek word.
But you're right. You just replaced God with the country, and now you're serving your country. And I get it, but that's what gets people to go out there and do atrocities. That's the whole point. Same with the religion. without religion, that religion there, you got your hierarchy in a religious order. You got the people that know everything, and then on the bottom you definitely have the people who don't even know how to read the Bible, but they believe in God. They just have faith the preacher guy is telling them the truth, and they go along with everything. And that's what the guys in boot camp start learning. And then they go to this war, and they're told these things. But do you think the generals know? The generals know. That's why they don't go out on the front line and fight. They know those are bad weapons, and they can get killed in an instant.
What I'm getting from this is kind of like religion and the military, if you will. What they do is they break you down. They break your spirit down, and then they build you back up to what they want you to do. That's essentially what it is.
That's exactly what
Psychology,
they do. That's exactly what they do.
Yeah.
Good, Nina. Good. Okay, let's move on to another question here, because I think we got that one down. Heaven or hell? Real or an illusion? Real or an illusion? Wayne?
Both.
Both. It's real and not real.
It's as real in people's minds as they see it, but in actuality, it's an illusion.
Yes, that I
can
agree.
concur with that.
I mean, the whole concept.
There's no way that some God would send you to burning in hell. Like, that's just ridiculous, right? It's one of those little children's stories.
Some God, why would you even want to follow a God like that?
Yeah, well, but he loves you though. He loves you, but yet he's gonna, and it doesn't matter what you do, you're still gonna go there. You're born a sinner.
Isn't Satan a creature of pride? So why would he take God's rejects?
Yes. Yeah.
Why would you go? There's one excuse.
How does that work? Oh yeah, God really hates that one. I love you, man. Come on in.
Yeah. You want all the bad apples, and you don't want, if you're making a team, you don't want to pick the worst players. You want to pick the best ones. Anybody thinks of that,
Well, then look at it the other way, though. Maybe Satan was up to something there, because
well, maybe he's smart enough to go, you know what? If they hate that guy, then I want them on my team. It's like,
exactly.
It's like I said today.
It sounds pretty boring to me, but
Yahweh has a lot of enemies. A lot of enemies.
Well, when you think about it, though, and I think we can concur that Satan never murdered anybody. He never ordered anybody to murder anybody. He never did the R word. He never did genocide. But it's all been done in this outer world, Father God's name.
That came right off. That's
whether you're Abrahamic, all the Abrahamic religions,
First of all, there isn't a Satan.
An illusion. It's an illusion for sure.
There is no Lucifer.
It just means adversary.
Delusional.
Adversary. That's what it is.
Your adversary.
Actually, it's mentioned plural in the book of Enoch, I believe. Satans. We all have Satans in our lives. That's what he was talking about, not an actual entity.
Yeah.
So,
Exactly.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, we're going to go on to the next question, and this is going to be, would aliens be God? Since we got all these UFOs being spotted and a mothership that's like 2 months out, and the way we should be seeing those aliens show up on the White House doorstep here now. And
well, that's the new high security nursing home.
Oh yeah,
1600 Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
so I don't know if they're going to go there.
They can have all our leaders. They can come and take all of them.
They can have them. Yes, exactly. So in several months, when these aliens show up, will they become our gods? Will they be? And do they have souls? Do they have a spirit? Or are they part of something bigger? Like if because really, we are so, as humans, we're so divided on color, religion, ethnicity. I mean, I could still be white and be one person, and then my neighbor over there is white and he's somebody else, and I hate him and he hates me, and we both want to kill each other, kind of thing. So would aliens, being a different race totally, they have the same feeling? Oh, brotherly love with you alien people. What's going to happen there? Or are they going to make us worship them?
Well, do you remember Reagan's little speech there in 1979 or something like that, when he says, wouldn't it be funny if we had, somebody come from somewhere else, where we would all bond together now, wouldn't we? We would put aside our differences and be fighting as one. And I think that's what they're planning on doing, to be honest with you.
Just like that movie Independence. Remember that movie with Independence?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that reminds me of.
Yeah. Now all of a sudden we're not worried about that now, right? So it's another distraction is what it is, basically. And I know that's what your show was supposed to be all about today, Wayne, but you're going on something else. But there's so many distractions, right? Because if they can distract us with that, all of a sudden we're not even worried about all this other stuff now, right? So, and then if you go with the tablets, okay, if we go back to the tablets, or we go back to the Bible, for instance, if Jesus was real, he must have been a hybrid then. Some other, and that would be an alien then. So E.T., I guess.
He was. I agree.
And we are as well. So, yeah.
I'm not because I'm not a golem. See, that's the difference. A lot of people, they believe this stuff, but they don't really read the Bible. So I read the Bible and I believe what they're saying when they separate the golem and the goyim. I'm not a goyim either because I don't believe in their religion. Like the Christians, they could be considered goyim, but I was not born of clay. I'm not a Hebrew. I'm not from the other side. Back in the Levant, back in the day, the people that were indigenous called the Hebrews Hebrew because they were from the other side. So that's what distinguishes them. And when they wrote their words, their script out, their golem, and we're the sheep, and I say we're, but I don't mean we're, I mean the people that believe in this religion, they're the goyim. And if you listen to Doreen, what's her last name? I can send you a link, but she states, and she's one of those heavy duty Israelis that know she knows her script, and she says that women are not even allowed in heaven. If they're women of Christian, they're not even allowed in heaven, and goyim are not allowed in heaven. So, I mean, Christians don't even really read their Bible,
No.
They don't
We're
really
the
even
Gentiles,
know
aren't we
what
not?
the heck. Yeah,
No.
Gentile is a they're goyim.
Yeah.
Okay.
So why are we following some Jewish religion when we're not even living there?
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not.
right?
I
So
don't,
let's go
but
back to
we seem to be talking about it all the time, We're not, instead of talking about other great things, we end up always talking about this darn monkey on our back, and we could just be talking about such other wonderful things that were taught in the Levant way before these outsiders got there.
Yeah.
So but we're still here talking about it.
We
talk about 1,000 or 2,000 years later.
We talk about that stuff way too much. Wayne, let's hear what you got to say about this alien stuff. With the, is it a distraction? Is it real? What's going to happen when the aliens show up, if they ever do?
The question when I'm meditating these days is really then questioning what is the nature of what we perceive to be a God. Does that even exist? It's not to say that there isn't a higher consciousness, there is a force and energy, but the constructs of God today, unfortunately, immediately puts you in a box because everyone reverts back to the Christian God. If we lived in China, maybe it might be a little bit different, but they've done a really good job in how they spread this net across the world. And I know that upon my transition to the other side, if I've declared that I serve no God, then most likely I'm going to end up in a place where there is no God. And that frightens people And it's interesting.
Well, there's always the originator, right? You always have the originator.
Yeah, whoever that is. I mean, I give praise to the one. When I give praise, and I do, I give praise and thanksgiving to the one who gave me consciousness. That's as close as I can come to a goddess, a god, however you want to define it, because that's the one that I'm either emulating or the one that gave me the freedom of where I am now. And within that, I rejoice.
Did you not reach consciousness through your own divination, though?
See, that's metaphysical and esoterical. We can talk about this, but it's like when people talk about going to the fifth dimension. I'll be candid with you. I don't know what the fifth dimension is. They don't give me anything reference to it. How do I define 5D?
Well, you're reading all the wrong books, Wayne. You need to start reading other books.
I guess maybe I'm just a practical man, because I just, I look at this, I am where I am right now. And I find that to be a pretty full-time job, just finding sanity within that, because with more knowledge, there comes more sorrow. But that's as close as I could. Now, if they're, well, Solomon actually wrote that, but if there's
I don't agree with that.
If there's aliens coming, then I have a feeling either they've been here before and we're all in for a real big surprise. They're here. There is something here. I don't know what it is, but
they even announced it now that the government announced that there's a mothership there. So there's no more, it's not just fantasy anymore now. This is getting real.
It's getting real.
We're gonna go by the tablets.
You created, Nina? Nina, was it something our own military created and they're using it to
well, that could be. That could be. They could be lying and just saying.
Do you think we're that smart? I mean, I ask people that all the time. Look at the condition of world.
A lot of shit. They know a lot of stuff.
Well,
we have a military right now that can't define what a man or a woman is. And you're going to tell me that they have technology? I'm not saying they don't. My point is, I'm being jovial. It's getting a little tense in here. It's like, hey, man.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I agree. It's a tricky veil. It can go either way, but we know that there's other species here. We do. I think even a collective, we know that. I think all of us on this round table know that.
Yeah, but see, religion will have you say that there is not. And this is where it's going to get a little bumpy here because they're shooting themselves in the foot. Yeah, they want to distract us with this mothership, but they don't realize that they're hand in hand with the church. They have been. They've been a contract for a long time now, okay? And this goes against everything that we've been taught. So this is really going to confuse people. Is there aliens or is there religion? Like, what's going on here, right? You can't have both. You can't have both.
So if it comes with a big horse and a guy riding on the white horse, the effect.
That's
it's a psychops of the biggest time that we can think of. I mean, here's the thing. If you look at the monetary policy of our country, because it's all tied together. They got to figure a way out to get out of this. And I'm just asking who's going to be the scapegoat in this? Who's going to be the one who comes in and actually either, as I read in the Wall Street Journal recently, are we looking at a potential civilization collapse? And the odds is that we are right now in the beginning of this collapse of our society and our civilization. I don't know how.
When a bank gives $73 million to Antifa, we're in a collapse, right?
Yeah.
And Wayne, just to bring it up, remember that one show you did in the Vatican where they were coming up in a procession in the Vatican, and there was
The alien in the Vatican.
that thing there. Yeah, remember? Yeah.
They say that's a representative from Sirius, the dog star.
Sirius. Okay.
That's who they say that they are. They are the dog.
You knew that. Did you know that on that show? Because I don't remember you stating that. But
I did not know it at the time. Yeah.
Yeah. See,
We're
everything we learn.
we're learning as we go. See,
That's why we're doing these shows, so that we can grow and learn.
This is the thing, Griffin. I tell you, you're kind of right. You're asking Wayne about the 5D, and Wayne, you're like, what about the 5D? But you know what? I read more books, okay, but that's somebody else's either experience or their thoughts. I mean, I don't know how to make myself go into the 5D.
It depends how well sourced it is.
Yeah, but regardless, 5D, aliens, and species, and all of that other stuff is somebody else seeing it. I haven't seen one alien in person. Just like Wayne, have you met Satan yet? You put out plenty of invitations. They have dinner.
I do all the time.
And and that's the thing. Yeah. Aliens show up. I just want to have a good conversation, people. And then that's the thing. Nobody's showing up. I haven't been to the 5D. I love those shows where the lady just closes her eyes and you know who she is, and her name starts with an E, and she closes her eyes and says, I'm gonna go to the Galactic Federation and talk to somebody. And
I don't know who that is. So.
There's a lot of this information out there.
I don't remember who that is.
She goes by the initials EA, and she closes her eyes.
I don't know.
Elizabeth April.
Yes.
Elizabeth April.
I didn't want to mention
that.
But but that's the thing. She closes her eyes and she'll say, oh, yeah, they're telling me that, and then she comes back with some wild, crazy story, and I'm thinking, wow, did she go to the 5D? And it's hilarious to listen to, because I swear she really thinks she's going, or she either really is, she is really making it up, or something's happening.
But see that they're talking to her. They're not talking to all the other
I'm a mathematician. Explain to me in dimensions how you define 5 dimensions. I haven't heard anyone explain me on the metaphysical side. Explain to me in math. Tell me what 5 dimensions is.
Can Dr. Lipton tell you? I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's my point of reference. I know what 3 dimensions and the XYZ axis. I get that.
Yes.
When I was in the video industry, we worked in, high-end animation. You work in the animation in 3D because you have an XYZ axis. You can determine where you are in space at any time. I don't know what 5 dimensions are.
In here on Earth.
Can't get my video to work.
I see you there, Dalibor.
We see you.
Somebody asked.
You can see
me.
Video
thing up top.
I can see your names up there, but we can't see your video.
We can hear you.
Blue thing on the right.
That's bizarre. Yeah, I can see my name, but I can hear you guys.
Or something.
Hey, what's
up? Hi, Dalibor.
Who is that?
That's
It's Griff.
She's on the phone, so you can't see her picture.
I can't see her picture.
Musgrave Griffin. I don't know if you ever seen her.
Oh, yes.
Okay, there you go. All right. Well, you
can see me?
No, we can't see you. We cannot see you. I know your video isn't working.
Allow the camera or something.
Well, hopefully you can get it working before 8/7 tonight. But anyway, you keep working on it, but I'm glad you can make it. We're in the middle of aliens and existence, 5D, 5G, and who knows what else is there. But I think, Wayne, you're right. There is no explanation for it. I don't know what 5G is.
I'm just being honest.
I can't be in 5G. It's not something I can work for. I mean, no matter how many books I've looked at or read or people I've listened to, I still don't know the concept of 5G. It's just like when people tell you, I went to the other side on a near-death experience, and over on the other side, I can see all these extra colors. Well, because, we can't see that high in the spectrum over here. But I don't know what those colors look like, and try to explain that to somebody when those colors don't exist. it's like telling a blind man what blue looks like or red,
Yeah.
but they've
Yeah.
never seen the
True.
color, so that's the definition maybe, but until I can look at it, see it, touch it, feel it. You live in the show me state. I was in the show me state once for a little while, and I'll just say you need to show me.
Well, the only thing I can say about that is that when you go and you experience something, let's say not necessarily a vision, but let's say a near-death experience for me, when I got into this, I don't know what the heck happened to my leg, my knee, but I hyperextended it, and I didn't realize I did it until the next day. And so it took months, and then finally I went to the doctor because I wanted to know, was there something that could show up on an x-ray? And there wasn't. And so I focused and I concentrated, and I was my intentions before I went to bed at night were such that I'm going to,
there you go.
I'm going to heal my leg, my knee. And when I went into a deep sleep, I went up into the astral plane, and I did go into what you would call the core of the galaxy. And I had another emotional healing as well. And when I woke up the next day, I could walk, I could even skip almost on my leg. So I had a true healing, And this emotional healing that I had went way back when I was just in high school,
And that is that is miraculous. I'd love to hear more about that.
Now, where
on another show, but
I was in some dimension, but I sure the heck wasn't in the third.
Yes, and that's the thing. Like I said, you trying to explain it to us. I mean, we agree. I mean, I'm not going to deny anybody that they had a near-death experience, and or went to the other side, or
I've had 3 near-death experiences.
And there's something we all know. I think we all agree and believe that there is something else. It's just that to put it into words or try to experience it while you're still alive without dying is kind of hard.
You speak about multiple dimensions. I go back to my youth days when I was heavily into psychedelics, particularly LSD. Now, when I would get in, particularly it was very strong LSD, there was no doubt we were in a different dimension. I mean, interacting to this dimension. When you have the ground undulating and literally, coming alive with the shapes and the colors, I mean, if that's part of the third dimension, then we're missing a whole area. But I contend that the mind, you're in, I guess that would be almost close to what I would say would be another dimension, I think. But so that would be 4. I don't know.
And Wayne, not that they used LSD back in the day, but these shamans from way, way back, they used what Mother Nature gave them, which were the psychedelics, the mushrooms and stuff. And they used the plants for having these divination experiences.
Maybe that's the way to God.
Well,
the mushroom.
Because God
didn't
gave
Jesus
them
say
to
the
us.
kingdom
God
lies
gave-
within you?
Yes.
The kingdom lies within you. He even said that.
Yeah.
So maybe these
Yeah.
dimensions are
Jesus
inside of us.
said that.
So
I think he said it in Matthew, but I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yes. Dalibor, thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure.
So good to see you, my friend.
It's good to see you, be on the show with you, Wayne.
Oh, that's an honor, my friend.
Yeah. Thanks.
Great respect for you, my friend. I get you on my
Thanks.
time, except the little time difference.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it is. It's 11 o'clock at night here. Except I'm under the impression that you guys started without me. I thought it was starting at 4 p.m. your time.
Yes,
Robert.
it's 5 p.m. my time right now. We
Oh,
had
it is.
we
it's
forgot
only
to tell.
3 for me. So
That's
depending on
right.
where you are.
We had the spring ahead thing
Oh yes, that too.
Oh, yeah.
That is so confusing.
That's what
so,
it is.
That's
how many things do you got to keep up with? You know,
I know.
you got to keep up with this bill, that bill, taxes, you know, and then this.
Then they jack with our time. You know?
And then they jack with our time. Does anybody really know what time it is?
Screwed up my grandson's sleep schedule, that's for sure.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
Jesus, they gotta get rid of that.
Don't know what time we're living in. But the time is just a construct of human ingenuity. Dalibor, what do you think? We're talking about, I want to get your opinion on, would aliens be gods of the Bible, or would they be gods if they came here in that spaceship that they said is coming here within 2 months? And what do you think people will do? How are things going to react? Are they going to destroy us? Are they going to be like us? Or is this just a big distraction so that we don't pay any attention to the war that's going on?
Well, I think it's a big distraction. I think most of what they present to us on the news is just a big distraction. I don't think that there are any real aliens. I think that what people have reported in the past as aliens are actually humans or humanoids from a country that we haven't discovered yet, or a continent that we haven't discovered yet, that we can't go to yet. Because a lot of these images of Earth from space are just fake. NASA, it's a government agency that was founded by Nazis. You know, I wouldn't really trust them, you know, if I had other options. Which most people don't, because they got like the monopoly on all the space imagery. So I think it's a big distraction. And again, it's meant to divide us. It's just like religion. You know, media has become the new religion of state. And like all religion, it serves only to isolate one group of people, separate it from the rest, tell them that they're better and that everybody else is worse than they are, and then to create division. That's all it is. And it is a distraction because, you know, don't tell me that some, you know, I don't know, some serial killing in Idaho affects my life here. It doesn't, you know, realistically, as heartless as that may sound. And it's just to further an agenda of some kind, you know, and you can easily figure out what that agenda is. It's more reliance on government, more reliance on new laws, stricter laws restricting, you know, content on social media. Basically, it's been an orchestrated, top-down attempt at controlling our lives, our day-to-day lives, and that's what I've been seeing since the 90s.
But it is kind of weird how we are not allowed to fly over Antarctica. You know, there's a whole continent there of land. I do believe there's a lot more land than what they've told us. And, you know, there might be something to that whole thing. Who knows what's there?
Yeah, because that's where the other side is. That's where the other side, you know, if you believe in a flat earth, or if you think that there's a flat earth versus a round globe, then beyond the ice wall, that's where so-called like I said, like in the Levant back in the day, that's where the people from the other side came.
Well, see, I think flat Earth is to a small degree. I think it's also a distraction, because I think the truth lies somewhere in the middle, in that we don't know the true shape of our Earth. We don't know the true size of our Earth.
No, we don't.
Because if you can disprove one aspect of the globe Earth, that doesn't mean that flat Earth is true. And I can disprove the 8 inches per mile squared, which is like the drop off that you get, that you supposedly get with the curvature of the Earth. You don't get that.
But the hollow Earth could also contend. I contend that the hollow Earth can still be
I wouldn't discount anything.
Yeah, but I don't really think that the globe is true to fact. You know, I've never seen a picture of it. You know, it's like, if you go up there, why don't you get a picture of it and bring it down and show us? But they don't. You know. Well,
yeah, because all of those photos are actually photo montages. They're all photoshopped, every single one of them, and that's why every single one of them is it has different proportions of the different land masses, which don't make sense.
Yeah.
You know, why is it?
Mhm. Dalibor, did I send you that picture of the Japanese flat Earth map, and then I sent you that other thing from? I think I sent you the other one of where the hollow Earth, where it goes in different levels.
Yeah,
Did you see that one too?
Yes, I did. Yes.
So there's all kind, and that's as old as the dirt, you know, that one. So that one from Japan was from 1949, I think, in the Hawaiian Gazette or something. You know, so there's other theories, and you know, there could be these living other species that live beneath or on the other side of where we have gone and explored ourselves.
Yeah, because we obviously haven't explored our realm, the visible portions thereof, or even the oceans. We really haven't. There's even places on Earth that are not under the ocean that we still haven't explored, like even in Oregon, that remain unexplored, where you find cryptids. Yeah.
That is so true. Our Earth is probably way more. There's more out there than we know, and you know, since we're only individuals and not explorers, we're not going there. We just read books. We look at maps,
and we get our knowledge secondhand.
But because there's a no-fly zone, I would say they're hiding something. Obviously, why is it that
absolutely,
right? So,
absolutely, Nina.
Yeah, great point.
Yeah, without actually doing the physical. See, and that's a lot of things. You can be a great person of knowledge by reading tons of books, but if you don't do anything, I mean, like Wayne, for instance, you know, you've read tons of books about magic, correct?
Few.
But then you also went ahead and experiment with magic, right? To actually, you experiment with it, you actually do the stuff. Whereas, and same with you, Nina, you do the stuff.
Same here.
Dalibor, you do the stuff. Yes, you do the stuff. But if you just read the books, you know, you'd always question yourself, does it really work? Did that guy lie to me? How do you know? Oh, it could be a story.
And
I'm just trying to find God in all of this.
Well, we're all part of God, right? We're all gods.
That's like, right.
Is he here? Is he over there? Where the hell is he?
Oh, come on.
I think that's where, you know, like there's obviously one creator. Something created all
Someone
of this,
did.
right? Something, or what I think it's more like an energy.
I go with the originator. Yeah.
Lieutenant Dan said it best. Have you found Jesus? And Forrest Gump was right. Didn't know I was supposed to be looking for him. So, I think I got the same reaction with God. I mean, why is it my responsibility to find God? It would seem like it would be the other way around. It's like, hey, dude, I'm God. No shit. Yeah, I'm God. Okay, fine. We got that settled. Let's move on.
That's exactly right. You need to find it for yourself. And I think a lot of people, they turn to that, back to the religion thing. They turn to that religion because they don't know where to look. And they're waving the flag over there. He's over here. He's over here. We'll make it really easy for you. Just come on in the door, hand me $10, and we'll show you right where he's at. He's right up there.
That's exactly what it is.
Dead man on a stick right there. That's who he is. He said, don't make an image of himself, but there he is.
And the Catholic, the Catholic.
And God is an American, by the way. He supports the red, white, and blue.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, the Catholic.
All right, I give up, man.
There's a lot of countries that have flags with red, white, and blue. It's amazing. I think that's more a sign of communism than freedom.
Well, the Russian flag is red, white, and blue.
Yeah, so is the French flag, you know.
So is my Czech flag.
So I think there's more to that red, white, and blue than freedom.
Yeah, well,
I'm just saying. I'm just putting that out there.
It's the royal colors, I think. But
how many countries have used the eagle as their symbol on their flag or their mascot thing, like the eagle. We have a bald eagle sitting there. Well, Germany
So is
did
Russia.
Russia,
Well, as a matter of
all of those.
Well, as a matter of
Russia's
fact,
a
like
devil head.
one of the first national anthems, which is "My Country 'Tis of Thee," that's actually the original Russian anthem, "All Hail the Noble Tsar." Few people know that, and it was later used by the British.
There you go.
Always
Nothing new under
messing
the
with
sun.
them.
I mean,
Yeah.
the Brits are definitely, in my opinion now, they're communists.
Well,
They're
Robert, I'm
both-
going to have to take my leave.
Bolsheviks
okay,
communists.
thank you, Wayne.
Imperialists, but
Thank you,
Bolsheviks are
Wayne, for
communists.
joining us.
Thank you.
Wayne, it was
Wayne.
lovely to meet you. I
Yes,
didn't
it's a
get to,
privilege.
you know,
Thank you
you,
for
you
joining
was
didn't
fun.
get to see my face when I was talking to you or anything, but I did. I'm always mean to be in a friendly conversation.
Yes.
I always want to make
It's always,
sure,
I love the conversation, and it was good.
Well, thank you for joining
All
us,
right.
Wayne.
Thank
And,
you, Robert, for having
me,
looking
Dilbert.
forward to you.
We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
We'll see
You
soon.
shall, Trina. All righty.
Take care, Wayne.
Bye.
Thank you, everybody, for joining for that great show. I hope you all enjoyed it. Now, remember, there's a lot more to it. We also have Max Vision, who joins us later. So stick around, and we will be showing you part 2 tomorrow night. Same time, same place, right here on the Milky Way Soul Tribe channel. And I thank you all for joining me tonight. Remember, go out, be the frequency you want to receive, everyone. Love you all. Peace, everybody.